Well, we are here, and I'm glad because this is a very good feeling. I hope you can share it with me sometime, John and James.
What you strumming on there, Bill? Is that the 12 string?
That's the 12 string. I guess he'd rather be in Colorado. You're going to hear that song a little later.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
Okay. Well, hey, John, it was Valentine's Day when we were recording.
The last show was,
yeah. How was your Valentine's Day? Was it?
You really want to know?
Yes.
The actual day of Valentine's, I went to the Lightning game.
Wow.
It was uneventful. I did not have a date.
Well, you could have said, "Well, you saw fireworks."
I could have,
lightning.
I could have made something up, but I'm telling you the truth.
Well, yeah, you could celebrate. People celebrate Valentine's before, after, during, whatever.
I might have celebrated on a different day.
All right. I managed to have a nice Valentine's Day. As far as the money side of it goes, I think as far as the return on my investment, I think I would have been better off with a CD, investing in CDs.
Is this a riddle we have to solve?
No, they're just a CD, certificate, like the CD.
Certificate of deposit or a CD that you put in music?
No, either way it would have. All right. Well, we did manage to take advantage of Valentine's specials, after the day after.
Did you get some cheap candy?
Chocolates and confectionery, So I talked it over you briefly, that we should be able to do a little bit of extending the Valentine cheer. And we were supposed to do something last week, but it didn't fit in. So, I went through the catacombs and my back rooms and stuff, and I came up with a few items.
Catacombs? You have underground tunnels under your house?
It's also called sepulchers.
That's where you lose everything, right?
Oh, God. Well, you don't want to go there.
Sepulchers?
Yeah.
That's a sepulcher is a catacomb? What language is that?
Hey, listen, don't you? I was in the sepulcher in Jerusalem.
Okay.
Where
Italy's got a bunch of catacombs.
Well, Jesus was there with his. That was the 13 steps, which I just picked up when I was on the tour. But yeah, that was the Holy Sepulcher.
The Holy Sepulcher. It almost sounds like sepulcher.
Don't even. Okay, so I gave you a book. And I found this is the 10,000 ways to say I love you.
Oh, we're not going to read all 10,000.
No, only about 850. No, on that, one page I thought was very wonderful things that came out. So maybe you could share with us. And I have one that says love isn't always
Can I
easy.
read some of the ones that you told me not to read?
John, we're going to have to X out that 7 seconds. So go ahead, do what you think. I trust you implicitly.
Be romantic only on the days that end in the letter Y.
Not W.
Come on now.
Okay, well, that's good because that means that all days are open for...
To be romantic.
Yes, okay. What are
Oh, there's more?
Yeah, there's 10,000 of these, and there are only about 100 on each page.
Bob, this might be one I can't read. Can I say it anyway? This isn't that bad.
All right, then say it.
Bathe Together by Candlelight. That's that pushing the envelope a little too much? Hey, it's in the book.
I know.
All right. Well, you want some more?
Yeah, a couple more.
Visit theme parks across the country. Six SeaWorld of California. Six Flags Great Adventure.
And what's the other one? Wasn't there one in New Jersey that you...
Great Adventure, New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. Disneyland.
Oh,
that's romantic.
Well, find another.
I don't know. Waiting in line to go on a roller coaster doesn't seem.
No, it isn't.
Well, unless you're like maybe it was dark and you're holding hands.
Goes a tunnel of love.
And the girl starts screaming, ah, and you hold on. I guess that could be. You get arrested.
All right. Anyway,
so who would think of that? Dresser. Oh, I can't say that one.
Dress appropriately. Okay.
It just says dresser in the morning. I won't.
Okay.
Say the second part of it.
That's in the
Because
morning.
this is a G-rated show, right? If it was a PG-rated show, I could probably say it.
No, That's all the time. Okay, this was Love Isn't Always Easy. And here's an interesting one that I thought might sort of put things in perspective. Let it never be the case that we grow too weary, impatient, or fearful to sit and talk to one another about our love. Let us always remember that just sitting and talking to one another is how we discovered our love in the first place. That was Kelly.
That's very nice.
That's an interesting. This one is
I'm going to remember that one.
I'll let you borrow this book. Instead of walking away when things get tough and blaming the other person, look for compromise and forgiveness. Caring is not a matter of convenience. It is a commitment of one's soul to another, and if each gives generously of themselves, then both lives are enriched. The problem will come and go, just like the changing seasons. But unselfish love is constant and everlasting. Susan Straszewski. This was a collection of poems on love and making it work because it's worth it, edited by Susan Polish Schultz. She always
You see this right here? You know what that is?
Is that a tear?
It's a little tear.
Oh, you are soft.
I'm so sensitive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You remember what that was from last week? That said guys are only interested, concerned with their self-emotions when it concerns
them. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's carry on in karaoke.
Oh, was that the Kurt Cobain one?
Okay. Last week we were talking about some of the great rock stars of the early 70s, Elton John, and there was a selection there, and the Tumbleweed Connection. Was
right.
And then I was trying to think of the song. We both were Country Comfort was...
Country Comfort.
And that album was so amazing with Amarina and Your Song. I need you to turn to a couple of ones I played. Crosby, Stills, Nash, Simon and Garfunkel, James Taylor.
James Taylor.
Yes.
I saw James Taylor earlier last summer.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Were you there?
No, I didn't go to that. So we are going to probably have... I talked to Joy Katzenguthrie. Remember I told you about this amazing woman who's talent and personage of the first magnitude. She was almost going to be able to make it this next week, but I think the following week, hopefully we still have our broadcast dates. You'll let me know. We can coordinate that. It really would be a wonderful addition to the show. We can coordinate it with her time and your with the broadcast date. So, first part of the show is a no-brainer because this happens.
I'm in.
Hey, that makes three of us. Two and a half. Like 2.5 men, okay? And it's my dad's birthday. He would have been 102 years old.
What date?
February 20th that we're recording this.
No kidding. That's today.
Yes, and it was 1917. So he would have been 102.
Wow.
And his parents, Jenny and Jack Safikar, lived in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. 6 months after his parents arrived from Salonika, Greece, he was born. They arrived in October 1916. And so when we were writing the book, Dad, I might have mentioned this, he thought a fitting title to the book would be Conceived on the High Seas and Received in the U.S. of A.
Did that really happen, though? You think?
Oh, I'm going to ask my dad.
Is there a possibility?
If he told me, it was it. That was it.
All right.
That's God's honest truth.
Okay.
I'm telling you, he did say that. That's what he thought.
Yeah.
A fitting title. As you know, that didn't. I didn't think I was really in the running when I took over. But one of the things that I was really proud of, and I did a lot of research on the book. If you look in the beginning of the book, John, you have your book there.
I have my copy right here.
Right in the beginning, it'll show his birth certificate. And I went looking at the place at 301 2nd Avenue. And this book I found, it's called Lower East Side Gateway to America. So many millions and millions of our people, their family, ancestors came through. And I was able to get a picture right in the beginning of the book of the street where Dad, in that area where he grew up on. And I got permission from the authors of the book, Brian Mirlis and Oscar Israelowitz. And you can see on the book, you can tell me if you see the page on, you can see right in the beginning, right in the first chapter, when he was 10 years old, there's a picture of the bustling streets and so forth.
So the Lower East Side was basically a big melting pot of all the immigrants that came, right?
Oh, God, yes.
And
yes.
so, like the Irish, like obviously the British came first, but then didn't the Irish come shortly afterwards?
There was quite a progression. Germans.
Well, just because for what my family would tell us is that when the Italians came, Irish came first. The Irish came first because the Irish kind of gave the Italians a hard time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The Jews. Everybody gave the Jews.
Well, that's what I'm leading up to. When did the Jews start to come? Was it
the latter part of the 1900s, early 20th century? My
that early?
Early 20. Oh,
yeah.
My grandfather William, who I was named after, he arrived like in 1912, and he brought my grandmother, my mom's mother, and two sisters and a brother, and then my dad's parents, as I said, came over in 1916 with my dad's oldest sister. She was 4 years old.
Okay.
And they had 4 children.
I think that's around the time that my grandparents came, because my dad was born in 1922. Yeah. So, I think they would have came probably around
about that time. It was
16,
just
17,
millions and millions. Well, what I had was able to find was the building at 302 2nd Avenue.
Oh, you drove by? You did a drive-by, didn't you?
I walked and walked. I spent about 2 hours.
You did a walk-by.
Well, this is.
You didn't have Google Maps back then, huh?
It was only about 3 years ago.
Oh.
Come on. 4 years ago, I was writing the book.
You still couldn't find it.
I found it.
Yeah.
But on page 5 and 6, it's now a condominium.
Of course.
And this was a hospital. And they had that banners on this. It says, like what you were saying, where hundreds of babies are born every month. This was the baby factory.
Oh, that hospital.
That hospital. It's on page 5. And
the baby factory.
I mean, hundreds of babies were born every month.
So now, answer me this question: why didn't you get named Joe? Why weren't you Joe Jr.? Your dad ever?
We have a very interesting arrangement. There's 2 clans or categories in Jewish. There's the Ashkenazi, which is the European Jews, and the Sephardic, which is Middle Eastern.
Okay.
So I have a little of both. My dad's parents were from the Middle East, with Greece and Turkey and stuff, and my mother's parents were from Russia. But I didn't have any of. So my mother really wanted to have me named after her father, William Charles.
Okay.
And she was 6 years old when he died, and he was a laborer. And he wanted to save 15 cents on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So in the middle of a winter with the snow coming down in Brooklyn, he decided he was going to walk with his toolbox about a mile.
This is in New York? Yeah.
And he had a heart attack.
Oh, darn.
Yes. And he passed away. So I was named after him.
Okay.
But I think in the Greek and Middle Eastern, they named people like second and third. Like Billy Jr. They didn't want it. They
Well, I wasn't named after my dad, and I always asked him. I was like, Dad, why didn't you name? Well, first of all, my brother's wasn't named after him, and then they couldn't figure out what to name me when I came along. And I said, why didn't you just name me Dominic? And he's like, I hated my name.
Okay.
And I kind of said, I like it. And, he's like, well, you want me to start calling you Dominic Jr.? I was like, no, it's too late now.
No, William. They call me Billy.
Yeah.
So the thing is that we had a party for my dad for his 100th birthday. And we had friends, and we had a cake, and it was a very nice restaurant. And Dr. Dave was here, who had been on our show, Dave Kalin. and a few other relatives and so forth. So I got this card for him, and it says, "A man to respect, a life to admire, my dad." And it's February 20th, 2017, so that was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
As dearest dad, you've always been a great dad, and the years have shown you're a great man too. That's why we wished a very happy birthday, because no one deserves it more. Love from Sonny and everyone.
Sonny.
Yeah, well, that's me.
Oh.
Anyway, so Dave showed up,
Oh.
and he had a card for Dad too.
The same one.
The same.
Isn't that funny?
Same one.
You know, where I used to work at Public Access, every year we'd get birthday cards and cake and the whole tradition. And so I got one that had had a bunch of people in it and had everybody sign their name to it, and they had animals in there and stuff like that. The following year, I got the exact same card. Oh. And I looked and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I pulled it out of the drawer. It's like, it was the same card.
Well, maybe they bought it in bulk.
Right? Are we going to sing happy birthday to your dad?
If you'd put in the Joe Baby.
Yeah, okay. Let's do it Bill Murray style.
What's that?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Joe Baby, you crazy guy.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
That sounds
to
nice.
You.
Steve.
Didn't Bill Murray used to do that?
Yeah, but then also Steve.
Oh, you said the crazy. Yeah, I said the crazy guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Dad, and I know you're celebrating with Mom, a little candlelight. Okay, so this I want to share with you because it ties into this first song. You know, we talk about the American Dreamer show as a way of looking at how to transcend your dreams and make them really a part of your core essence. And we've talked about things to make your dreams come true, and yet I use the word ethereal. Ethereal is a fleeting and short-lived being on the back burner. You know, people go through life, they're trying to get to their dreams and might not make it. That's why we try to
I'm living my dream.
Gap. This is cool. That's what we hear. And so this song, this first selection, depicts such a reflective situation. The song was written by Bill Danoff and Taffy Nimbrett, and about John Denver. It's called. I guess he'd rather be in Colorado. And if you remember, Bill Danoff and Taffy Nimbrett, they wrote with John Denver one of his first most popular songs.
Rocky Mountain High.
No, that was a little later. It was.
Please come to Boston.
No,
that wasn't even John Denver, was it?
I better chime in here.
Yeah.
Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Oh, of course.
And
but he's going to West Virginia.
Well, that was one of their first songs. You see, what happened was.
But I never understood that. Why was he singing about West Virginia?
That was
from Colorado.
just mountain because he didn't get to Colorado. That was the first stop. All right. The thing with John Denver was he replaced Chad Mitchell from the Chad Mitchell Trio. And that was his first stop, back in the 70s. So that was the big hit. And then Take Me Home, Country Roads. So the point here is that John Denver was going to wind up with a quiet cough in New York City. That's all he's to show for. Because he lived in New York City, and I've lived in New York City, Washington City, Tampa City, and I'm pursuing my dream too, John. Like what you said,
right?
Writer, teacher, musical interludes, reaching out and teaching, and talking about things that make a difference in my life. So.
Are you going to play the song?
I'm going to do that. John Denver wants me to do it.
Yes, he does.
So this is, I guess he'd rather be in Colorado, written and words by Bill Danoff and Taffy Nimbrett. I guess he'd rather be in Colorado. Once again I see him walking. Once again I hear him talking to the stars he makes and asking them for a bus fare. I guess he'd rather be in Colorado. He'd rather play his banjo in the morning when the moon is scarcely gone. In the dawn, the subway's coming. In the dawn, I hear him humming some old song he wrote of love in Boulder Canyon. I guess he'd rather be in Colorado. I guess he'd rather work out where the only thing you earn is what you spend. In the end, up in his office, in the end, a quiet coffee's all he has to show. He lives in New York City. And up in his office, in the end, a quiet coffee's all he has to show. He lives in New York City. Wow.
I kind of wish I was in Colorado right now.
Well,
You know why? 'Cause it's really hot here already for February.
John, it's symbolic because as I was mulling this over, wherever is the place that you would like to be, Colorado,
Hawaii,
Florida.
Newark.
Wow, you have a good imagination there.
Hey, some people really like Newark.
I'd like that to know. You send me some.
New Jersey, that is.
I'm going to be up there. It'll be middle of March.
I'm sorry.
In Newark. Condolences?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to family. Have a very good family gathering, and I'm looking forward to that.
Does that mean we're going to miss a podcast?
Well,
We're going to do it from the road?
Let's see if we can get enough of our creative juices going.
Maybe I can hook you up with a studio up in Jersey. You can do your podcast.
Wow. Hey, Hoboken. That's where Frank Sinatra was. Maybe
That's
we
right.
could use Frank Sinatra stuff.
There's a sign at Hoboken that says, "Welcome to Hoboken, birthplace of Frank Sinatra and baseball."
That
The
too.
first baseball game was played in Hoboken. Not too many people know that.
No. How
And
come
New
they
Jersey still doesn't have a team.
don't- I was wondering why they, instead of Cooperstown, they don't have Hoboken.
It should be Hoboken, right? Yeah.
All right. So
So,
we did The American Dreamer, and I have some inspirational quotes and sayings.
okay. Not too many, right?
No.
Like a dozen.
Well, first I want to share with our listeners how talented my group here is. You know, John and James. We're going to dwell on John's stuff and then James next week. But I had a class last night, at the library, the main library in Clearwater, Pinellas County Library. And John was the teacher for this special professional video and photos on your smartphone.
How to shoot professional videos on your smartphone.
Yes. And it was really cool. We had a full house. There were about 30 people.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
And then it was an extra added attraction. John set it up he made the sunset
We took a field trip up to the roof.
up on the roof.
Right, like the Beatles.
That wasn't the Beatles.
No, the Beatles played a concert on the roof.
Oh yes.
Yeah, let it
But
be.
up on the roof, that was one of the
And so,
rhythm and blues.
did you enjoy the class?
It was great. Beautiful pictures of the sunset. I'm going to put that on Facebook. And
Oh, maybe that should be the thumbnail for the. Oh, you got one. Never mind.
all right. So it was really neat. And so one of the quotes that I came across, and it just was so appropriate. And I have a bunch of my crypto quotes, and so this was perfect because this expresses what when you're doing photography and photos, and says,
Right.
I really believe there are things which nobody would see if I didn't photograph them. That was Diane Arbus. And I had a bunch of crypto quotes that I even had one, I have a whole box that collected these, and there was one that was from 2016, John. And the thing about it was February 18th. And I think I've covered it up, but
Covered it up with what?
with my other junk. And the funny thing was, there were two quotes. One was from George Washington, and one was from John Adams. So I looked it up, and it turns out that was from February 2018. And what that meant was that it was President's Day, so they had the one quote that was for that day that was to be solved that I solved, and then the other one was from the day before. Here's one from Jim Carrey. You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure he's doing what he loves.
and he's making everybody enjoy it because he just makes us laugh. And so, and I used to do these. I saved the. I don't know if I use on the bottom of the crypto quote was the "Holy moly."
Holy cow!
It
Holy
was a
moly.
beautiful. I always loved to capture them, and it worked out that the crypto quote was right underneath it, so I just clipped it together. Here's a cute one here. I'm going to read from the Holy Moly. The guy's looking at the television. He's ready to plug one of the little animals things. He says, "Hey, what you doing?" He said, "I'm unplugging my TV. It's nothing more than a subtle propaganda tool designed to promote a cultural hegemony and capitalistic agenda." He says, "Man, where did you get that from?" He said, "Oh, I think I heard it on the radio." That cute? It's cute.
Excuse my ignorance. Why do they call it crypto quotes? Because they're from the crypt. What?
Somebody crept into the crypt.
The crypt.
And
I don't know.
crapped.
Crypto quotes.
No, crypto is how they have a code. It's
Code. Yeah.
So
crypto.
you solve the code.
Crypto.
So it's called it, and it's a quote because
Because it's a quote.
you have somebody. And,
That part I get.
Yeah, it says everyone brings us something of value, even if it seems totally negative to us at the time we receive it. That was Alice Walker. This is something because I think by the end, my folks were kind of proud. So this was Meryl Streep. She said, you don't have to be famous. You just have to make your mother and father proud of you.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. And all actions result from thoughts, so it's thoughts that matter. And Henry Thoreau, I received, that's not good. I will defer to the one that for the President's Day, if I come across it.
President's Day. Yeah.
It's on the 22nd. That's why I was really so happy to see that I found that quote, even though it was...
I prefer to call it George Washington's birthday.
Okay.
Which is the 22nd, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually.
So that they combined Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday because Lincoln's birthday was on the 12th.
12th.
They used to have two holidays. They combined it and made it President's Day.
Well, isn't it so wonderful? In my love isn't always easy thing, I found where I put the quote from. So this is John Adams. Let us tenderly and kindly cherish, therefore, the means of knowledge. Let us dare to read, think, speak, and write. So the means of knowledge is part of let us read, speak, think, and write. And this is George Washington, like you mentioned. It is much easier at all times to prevent an evil than to rectify mistakes.
Yes.
Let's see that. It is much
What was
easier.
the mistake? That he chopped down the cherry tree?
It took a whole generation.
Are we going to have cherry pie to honor?
Yes, we have it. I have some cherry pie.
How did I know?
Because I baked it. Can you bake a cherry pie?
Billy boy, Billy boy.
Okay. I think I lost my train of thought, which...
That
Choo,
does-
choo,
yeah, that doesn't take
choo,
much.
choo.
Doesn't take much.
All right. We have at our disposal...
Disposal.
yes. It worked for me.
Oh,
Okay. And
that. Your book.
yes. And this is really amazing because a few days ago on Facebook, and Facebook's always offers so many
Drama. It offers a lot of drama.
trauma, karma.
Yeah.
So nice treats to sink your teeth into.
Right.
So here from the few. So this is tips to reduce stress. And what I like it is because I was involved with a lot of this. Exercise, meditate, solve a problem, which I do the jumbles and the crypto codes. And the fourth one, which I have a little question with, is it says, summon the demon to slay your enemies.
Well, let the demon. In other words, let somebody else slay your enemies.
Is that what you think?
It means that let your enemies be. Somebody else will take care of them. That's what that means. That you don't have to worry about it. That
So the
they'll
demons-
get theirs.
I like that
Yeah,
approach.
yeah.
But I thought it was a little bizarre, maybe create more debilitating effects. So I substituted for that fourth, possibly pertaining to like a hobby, creative juices, one like my music or guitar, astronomy, sailing. So whatever is,
Do you meditate?
Yeah.
You do, for real.
well, in my own way.
I don't mean you
fall.
fall asleep in the middle of my class. I mean,
Well, that's part of my meditation.
no. I mean, do you purposely go somewhere in a quiet room and meditate?
I go to not just a room. I will go somewhere
Okay,
like in the back, or I go to the park. I bring my guitar and stuff.
that's not meditating. Meditating is
I know, stop and you stop.
You erase all thoughts. No music, no sound.
I think I need to do more of that.
Yeah, I need to do more of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
James, you think you could
Transcendental medication.
How about we just stop the whole program right now
and meditate? Oh,
Oh no, Dave, don't pull the plug, James. Okay, but here's another one. Also, a tip. It's called Tip Hero. They have on Facebook. Story reveals that eating cheese could be the key to helping you live longer and reducing strokes.
did you see all the pizza I ate for dinner?
Well, we're going to live forever. And I had cheese. And I eat cheese and dairy products of the yin yang.
Doesn't say anything about the olives on that pizza, though, does it?
Well, the Italians eat olives all the time.
Don't start with that. Me and the olives and me
Okay,
being Italian.
so here's another thing.
Okay.
Feature story on NBC News said about music, playing or singing relieves stress.
Well, that's a given.
Well, not bad. Stress can be brought on by many factors, school, work, family, and it lends to anxiety, lack of sleep, broken relationships, depression, and in certain cases even to the extent of suicide.
I saw something that said pizza is a better nutritional value than cereal for breakfast.
Yeah, cold pizza. The
Cold
next
pizza,
day,
yeah.
That's how you know when pizza's really good.
It's got more protein. It's
The
got
next
less
day-
calories.
The next day when you have it for breakfast out of the refrigerator,
Yeah.
and if it's good. All right, so these are some of the things, and I want to follow up with something because last week we had fun with you, John, and you were a good sport about it. You kept asking me, said, I didn't get my script. And what's the song? And the songs were a love song. And it only took about 8 minutes to figure out what the songs were. Because we kept saying, what's the name of the song?
That was so long ago. I don't even remember.
You don't remember those things. All right. So this song is dedicated to James. And I didn't tell him what the songs were.
There was a reason why you didn't tell him.
Yes. Because this is one of James Taylor's original song. You remember I told you about these great rock stars in the early 70s that were so creative. And I went looking, I want to show you this because this is so endearing to me. I found some of my original music. This is over 40 years ago.
Wow.
This is James Taylor and Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Okay.
This song, Sweet Baby James, was one of the first 4 or 5 songs that I learned on the guitar
How
when I
about
was
that?
in college. And it's right there. And so I gave you guys, you have the, James, we have a chorus here. And so I was going to, we have our OK Corral choir.
Oh, I don't want to sing.
Well, this is the refrain on Good Night, You Moonlight Ladies. You have that in front of you? Okay, so this is one of James Taylor. He had so many beautiful songs. I have that album that I would have loved to. I thought I had.
Are you going to play the song?
I'm going to play the song, but this album. It's Fire and Rain. In my mind, I'm going to
For those of you listening to the podcast, Bill is holding up a songbook
Thank you.
of James Taylor.
Anthology.
Beautiful.
Okay, so, I have on this mug, it's life, but not as we know it. And that was my...
And then Bill is holding up a Star Trek mug.
Uh-huh.
For those of you listening to the podcast.
Your ears and eyes and sound. Thank you. So this is one of James Taylor's early one, and it's dedicated to Sweet Baby James. When I first learned this song 40 years ago, it just was just a real... I enjoyed it because it has such good feelings, and that's why I'm wearing my shirt with the horses out there and out west. So here we go, Sweet Baby James. There is a young cowboy, he lives on the range. His horse and his cattle are his only companion. He works in the saddle and he sleeps in the canyons, waiting for summer, his pastures to change. And as the moon rises, he sits by the fire, thinking about women and glasses of beer, and closing his eyes as the doggies retire, he sings out a song which is soft but it's clear, as if maybe someone could hear. Good night, you moonlight ladies, rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Now the 1st of December was covered with snow. So was the Berkshires from Stockbridge to Boston, though the Berkshires seemed dreamlike on account of that frosting. With 10 miles behind me and 10 10,000 more to go. There's a song's part that I like. There's a song that they sing when they take to the highway. A song that they sing when they take to the sea. A song that they sing of their home in the sky. Maybe you can believe it if it helps you to sleep. But singing works just fine for me. So good night, you moonlight ladies. Rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose to let me go down in my dreams. And rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. And rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Okay, John, you're back online?
I'm back. And you're
Okay.
back too.
I think so. So, we have a bunch of things that we need
Now,
to...
we don't have a bunch of things because we're running out of time.
All right, we only have half a bunch of
We
things.
have time to say goodbye and
All right,
that kind of stuff.
all right, 2 minutes. And one of the things on my quest is to become more...
Efficient and wrapping up your podcast.
That too. And I want to go out on the road because I'm having so much fun in my room here. I want to take it out. We're going to be doing some songs out at some of the, I told you, Kilo's Coventry
Yeah,
Bar.
yeah.
I have a list of my songs that I've been working on, and I'm going to see if anybody wants to, maybe they'll even pay me to play.
We'll see.
We'll see. And the other
Maybe you
thing
can
is,
get some free kava.
yes, at the least I'll tell you, I'll play for food. So anyway, my friend Dan, who you've met, and he's my social media guru, wants me to do Mr. Bill's Adventures.
I like it. Yep. You
And
tell me about that.
next week I'm going to have a poster because I'm going to be doing all the things that I've been saying, I've been doing. Like
You sure your Saturday Night Live's not going to sue you for that? Oh, no.
I'm going to get sued 3 ways for Sunday. I'll be singing in prison. That could
Hi
be
there,
false.
boys and girls. Mr. Bill is going to sing for you. Oh, no.
Oh, John, you're doing too much for me to help. I can never make it without you. All right, so dream big, set goals, take action. Dream, believe, create, succeed. Dreams are whispers from your soul, and believe in your dreams. They were given to you for a reason. So the reason that I'm here is to make my life shared with my friends John and James, and we'd like to share with you. And hopefully one of these days we'll get some call-ins, and then we could share you with everybody else. I know that sounds like an interesting arrangement, but please go forth, have a wonderful week. We'll hope to hear from you some way, somehow. Send us cards, pictures, guest invitations for dinner, and we love you. This is your friend Bill signing off, but we still have some time. You guys cut me off, and I still got 30 seconds left.
Stop it, Bill. Come on.
All right, I'm stopping it, Bill. It's like, you know something?
You just want to get your money's worth out of this, don't you?
We're squeezing it. Okay. All right. So, James, thank
Say
you.
good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. Good night, James. Good night, John. Go forth. Have fun. Follow your dreams, wherever they may lead. It's your friend, Bill.